Hogwarts Legacy has been steadily dropping new bits of information about the game's story, specifically the backstory of the 3 companions that have been confirmed so far. Now, I put out a question on my YouTube community page for you guys, basically asking how you feel about these drops that we've got so far. I want to be very clear that I am not complaining here in any way. However, I'm starting to hear from a lot of people that they really don't want to see more information on the game's story. And so I asked you guys, what do you think? Are we getting too much info on the story? And so here are the results. 34% said, yeah, I'd rather go in blind on the story details. 49% said, good balance so far, but we don't need any more on the story. And then 16% said, nope, keep the story drops coming. So the story details that I'm talking about here are all about the 3 recent character card reveals that we got from Natsai Onai, our Gryffindor companion, Sebastian Sallow, our Slytherin companion, and Poppy Sweeting, our Hufflepuff companion. And I do have just a little bit of something for the Ravenclaws at the end of the video. Don't worry. I'm not going to forget you guys, even if Avalanche seems to be doing just that so far. Now, when you look at each of these, Poppy's barely revealed anything at all. Poppy is a bright and compassionate girl with extensive knowledge of and a deep love for creatures. In fact, she believes creatures have far more redeeming qualities than most people, and has a particular aversion to poachers and those who work with them. Now, let's jump back to the trailer when we were first revealed to Poppy, which said this.
Poppy Sweeting has a kind heart and loves magical beasts, connecting with them more easily than with humans.
But what happens now?
So really the only new addition that we have with the card here is the fact that she has a particular aversion to poachers, which isn't really surprising when you consider her love for magical creatures, which we already knew about from the trailer. Now, for those of you who have followed the channel for a while, you know that I have been all in on this idea of poachers for a while now. I posted a theory way back before we even had the gameplay reveal trailer. I just thought there were too many things adding up showing that magical creatures, and specifically someone harming these magical creatures, was going to play a key role in the game, and now we have that confirmed here yet again. Now, what's interesting is when you think about the Autodesk session, we actually got a cutscene there where the main character and Natsai Onai were attempting to help a hippogriff that had been subdued and taken captive by these poachers. So while I'm sure that there are going to be a number of storylines throughout the game, and we've already had it confirmed that the quest with Sebastian Sallow is completely optional. I assume that the quests with Poppy and the quest with Natsai are going to be optional as well. We don't know that for certain yet, but I would think it will be the same as Sebastian. All that being said, I am still fully expecting that the storyline of poachers and magical creatures are going to play a very big role in this game here. I don't know if it's Rookwood behind it, I don't know if it's Ranrock behind it, or if it's some other group entirely. Perhaps they're led by this masked wizard here, which we actually did not see any of these guys in the more recent trailers. Personally, it's not that I mind seeing little details like this, I'm just ready for gameplay. I'm ready for the stuff that's really going to show what kind of game this is going to be. But let's move on now to Natsai. And if you're going to reveal story stuff about the game, I think this one is a perfect example of how to do it, because really all we get with Natsai is backstory. It's setting this up and helping us to get to know her a little bit before we actually start the game. However, unlike Sebastian, which we're going to talk about that one again here in a second, I feel like his gets involved a little bit more with the current story of Hogwarts Legacy, whereas Natsai seems to be like it's just mostly providing backstory for us. So here is this one. Wise, quick-witted, and possessed of a need to seek justice, Natsai grew up in Matabeleland, Africa, where she attended Wagadu, the largest wizarding school in the world. I looked up both those pronunciations, so if I'm wrong, I blame the internet. She transferred to Hogwarts when her mother became the school's divination professor and is adapting to her new life in Scotland. So I really like this one. We get this big bit of news right here that she is a transfer student, essentially. She did not start out at Hogwarts, so it makes sense that she and our main character are going to be able to bond over the fact that they are both new to Hogwarts. So they're both meeting new people. Plus, Natsai also has the added piece of her mother actually being a professor. Now, when it comes to Wagadu, this school actually has an extensive write-up on wizardingworld.com. One of the details being what we just learned there in the card, that it is the largest wizarding school. Now, I definitely think you should go and read the whole thing if you haven't already, but I'm going to pull out what I think are some key bits of information here, starting with this right here, the last sentence of the first paragraph. Much, some would say all, magic originated in Africa, and Wagadu graduates are especially well versed in astronomy, alchemy, and self-transfiguration. So when you think about all of magic originating in Africa, or even if not all of it, a very large portion of it. Now, I think we could also take from this that it seems highly likely that Africa, maybe even Wagadu itself, is also a stronghold of ancient magic. Could there be a moment in the game where we need to seek out Professor Onai and she's going to inform us a little bit about ancient magic in Africa? Possibly even how it all connects to Hogwarts and the greater wizarding world as a whole. Honestly, of all the details that we've learned on the character so far, this one I find is super exciting. I've always been fascinated. Since we first learned about the other Wizarding World schools on the Wizarding World website, I've always wanted to learn more and see more of these in books or film, whatever it may be. Possibly even future games. Then again, maybe even this game. Okay, yeah, I know. Expectations, keep them in check. The next bit of interesting information comes right immediately at the beginning of that next paragraph. The wand is a European invention, and while African witches and wizards have adopted it as a useful tool in the last century, many spells are cast simply by pointing the finger or through hand gestures. Now, this one also ties back into ancient magic, because not all forms of this ancient magic, we don't know exactly how it's going to manifest itself in this game, but what we know from the lore of the series is that it does not require wands. And while I personally still don't think that we'll be able to become an animagus in the game, if there's going to be any chance at seeing one, then it is definitely going to be Natsai or her mother. When you consider this line right here, many older and more experienced witches and wizards felt threatened by 14-year-olds who could turn at will into elephants and cheetahs. So if they were going to try and fit becoming an animagus into Hogwarts Legacy, then I certainly think it's very likely that Natsai and her mother, maybe even our Transfiguration Professor, would play a role. Now, the next story detail that I want to talk about here is also relating to Natsai, and it's the fact that her mother is the Divination Professor. Does that confirm that we'll be able to take Divination as a class, given that we already had the reveal of the Divination Tower on the Hogwarts Legacy Twitter account, and now we have the confirmed professor for it? I think we can just about confirm it. Even if it's not 100%, I think we can 99% say yes, we will be having Divination class at some point in Hogwarts Legacy, which is an incredibly exciting thing to have confirmed. Now, for our next detail, I'm going to jump back to Sebastian Sallow's card. This is the one where we learn not only his sister's name, which is Anne, but also that they are twins. And then another mention of the mysterious, debilitating curse. Now, there's been a lot of speculation among fans about what this curse could potentially be. I've heard werewolf, I've heard obscurial, I've heard vampire. I still think the most likely option is a blood maledictus. So according to the HP lexicon, a maledictus is a witch or wizard who suffers from a blood curse. One form of this affliction, referred to as a malediction, had been inherited by Draco Malfoy's wife, Astoria Greengrass. Astoria died from the blood curse in August of 2019. This is according to Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, for those of you who consider that canon. Now, HP Lexicon also goes on to say another form causes its victim to slowly transform permanently into a beast. And this is what we see in the Fantastic Beasts films, specifically The Crimes of Grindelwald. So one of the biggest reveals that we have gotten so far from the Fantastic Beasts films is the fact that Nagini, yes, the Nagini from the days of Harry Potter and Voldemort, was in fact a maledictus and used to be a human being. And if you're keeping track here when it comes to the magical creatures, if this is to be the case, and she is suffering, in fact, from a malediction, the kind that will have her permanently transform into a creature, well, we just have yet another example of how important magical creatures are going to be in this game, and one thing that could actually tie all of these companion quests together. The Autodesk cutscene showed us that Natsai was helping us on the mission to rescue Highwing the Hippogriff. Then we have confirmed details about Poppy and how she has this interesting bond with magical creatures, and she really does not like the poachers. Then we also have Sebastian here, who is seeking a cure for his sister and this debilitating curse, which very well could be having her transform permanently into a creature. Now, a lot of people may be discouraged just thinking about that because we kind of already know there's no cure for this. But I think there is one key idea that could actually still work with the canon and us still find a way to save her. And that all comes back to ancient magic. Our character, we know, has some sort of mysterious ability, and we have seen a couple of ways that it's going to manifest itself in game, but perhaps we haven't seen all the ways. So if you're holding out hope of saving Sebastian's sister, maybe it will in fact be possible through ancient magic. And honestly, I'm still fascinated to learn more about maledictus in general. Maledictuses, is that the plural? I mean, once Nagini transformed into the snake permanently, did she retain her human memories? Are they completely gone? Because I definitely think we could see a scenario where Sebastian and Poppy and the main character and even Natsai are helping his sister Anne transition into this new phase of life where maybe they eventually have to come to a point of acceptance where they know there is no other way. They're not going to be able to keep her human. So instead, they're going to try and prepare themselves to take care of her as best they can once she is fully transformed into a creature. Again, this is all if this actually ends up being the curse that she's afflicted with. Now, finally, one more detail because I don't want to leave out the Ravenclaws out there. I know you guys are still hoping, waiting, when are we going to get more info about a Ravenclaw companion? Well, while I cannot say when, I have no idea when we're going to be getting more info about a Ravenclaw companion, or even if we will get info about a Ravenclaw companion before launch. But I talked to one of the same folks that has given me some information in the past about Hogwarts Legacy. You guys know we confirmed no playable Quidditch long before it was officially confirmed, so take this for what it's worth. I can in fact confirm that we will have a Ravenclaw companion in this game. Honestly, I was starting to get a little bit worried after we had that whole week where they showed us 3 companions, but nothing else. I was like, oh man, is this it? Are they really not going to have a Ravenclaw companion? But no, guys, it is definitely just a matter of when, not if, there is a Ravenclaw companion. We also just got a ton of new information regarding this field guide, and I have broken all of that down in this video for you here on the right side of your screen now. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.